Now, this is another example of me telling it to use an MCP tool and it ignoring me. It used 2 of the 3 I told it. I said to use sequential thinking, and you notice it never showed up sequential thinking here. It never showed up. That does, again, the LLM is non-deterministic. It may skip the instruction you give it. So we are going to try to get it to use that for the build. Please do this change additively and use to plan, process, and execute without changing anything else in the app. We'll see if we'll get it to use it. Windsurf just put in this plan mode, which is their own version of sequential thinking inside their prompt system. I've noticed since they put that in, it's less likely to follow my instructions for sequential thinking, but it is hit or miss in Windsurf in that particular one since that changed. And this is a beta feature. I don't have it enabled, which is interesting that it's still ignoring it, but that is the deal with MCPs. So here it has made a plan in the memory, right? So this is now put into memory so we can reference how it planned to do this creation. And we can reference back to the all of the details rather than guessing next time. We don't have to go and reread the files. We can say, hey, look up how you implemented this feature, or look back at the plan and see if you did every step of the plan. And it puts it all in here rather than necessarily having to create a markdown file every time. Let it go through here. While that's thinking, pun intended, let's go over here and see if there are any capabilities to add MCP servers. We'll open this right now. I'm building this app for quite a few folks that I do like by the hour work for. They buy blocks of hours and then I work on their app for a period of time, and I need a better way other than spreadsheets to report that. Right now I just report it with spreadsheets, and this will be live very soon and people will be able to log in and see all the work that's been done on their application just inside here and any hours used and things like that. I just opened this one up to see if we can access any tools for, this looks identical to the web version. I'm not really seeing a ton of additional features here. Here's an extension store. I'm not seeing that these are necessarily MCP capabilities either, but these extensions look fun. This would save you some time from time to time, finding what's running on your, especially if you're running locally like this. But speaking of extension stores, yeah, I'm not seeing, Tony, I'm not seeing that there's an ability to add a MCP there. But that does remind me, I showed you 2 ways to get MCP servers like this list here. There's a bunch of other ways as well. These are 2 of the biggest libraries. All right, let us go down into here and see what we have. Adding invoice templates. So it's going along. I am currently building an MCP server that I will share with you all as soon as it is done. It is going to be really cool. What it does, it works locally. I just need to get it working. It requires Python, and I have to make that dynamic so that it can run on anybody's system, because right now it requires a certain Python configuration. But basically what it does is whenever you want to integrate an API or a service with your application, this MCP will go and find all of the documentation for you and turn it into markdown files and bring that in right into your coding tool so that you have a up to the minute knowledge base of how to do the integration you're trying to do. So you just say, hey, I want to integrate this, use the OPG AI helper to find all the documentation necessary to do this integration. And it will bring it in and use context of your application to write instructions for itself to do the integration. Very single purpose tool, extremely powerful because, as I said earlier on the call, the AI LLMs don't actually have context that's recent for a lot of APIs. This uses perplexity on the back end, so you have to have a perplexity API key. I'm going to add a couple other options like Brave Search and things like that, so people have variable decision making if they want. Yeah, it goes out, finds all the documentation, pulls it in, and injects it right into your system for that. It will be a fun MCP for y'all to use I will send an email about it when it's done. I have this version here that's like a web version of it that is almost built as well. So if you don't want it to have context of your application, you just want to ask for the information, I'll have this finished and published shortly. Just had a couple bugs that I was fixing this week. But basically what happens is you can say Stripe payments, and I want to use Stripe payment pages to create subscriptions for my something like that. Like I said, I've been working on a couple bugs here, so we'll see if it actually runs or not, and bring that back. So that's more generic information, and the MCP will actually use your app context to go find the information that matches. Okay, so here are the templates it's creating. I see it's doing all these HTML templates. This would be the front end pieces, both for us as admins and for customers to see. So let's see how far it gets here. It has done a lot of tool calls. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18 here. It's going to stop in 2 more calls. See? 1, 2. Windsurf stops at 20 calls every time. Every single time. It goes 20 calls and stops. You can know you're going to have to come back and tell it to continue. I wanted to get to the end here, and then we'll see what it does. Okay, so this is a generic version of what the MCP tool will do. It pulls up the latest information and writes instructions for your AI to use for integrating whatever API you want. This does an internet search to find the latest information. I'm just basically extending this into the MCP so you have application context. It gives documentation and finds error code information, and you can basically paste this in to get your integration working really well, fast and easy. The MCP tool will just take out that step and allow you to just natural language ask for it. So going to be pretty neat. See what we have here. Okay, so it updated our changelog with the changes. That's good. And it updated the memory. So now it made the memory up here, right? And then it followed that and updated the memory. Something to keep in mind with these tools is they will lie to themselves. So you have to go check it and see if the memory actually is telling the truth. It's going to restart the app here. Cursor has a similar setup. KiloCode has a similar setup. This little button right here, this open in terminal, is very useful. So when the app runs a command and you see it here, in this window, you can't really interact with it, but you can relocate that command over to your terminal here so you can interact with it. And this would be for things like, I wanted to connect this to Railway to edit my Railway services. You have to type in information as a user, and you have to use your keyboard to select different services. The AI can't do that here. So you can just relocate it in terminal, and then you can interact with your terminal here. That's a useful little button. It went away for a few weeks and everybody complained about it, including myself. I sent them a message. So bring it back. Give us that back. All right. So it says it's running. This is that Windsurf browser that I said that I'm currently testing as a replacement for the Puppeteer tool. So here we have the little tool in the Windsurf browser. Look at this. It has this test software notice, and you can actually send your logs, screenshot, or select an element and send those right into Windsurf. So rather than having to go and like right click and inspect and then say, I want this element right here, and I want to copy that and then paste that into Windsurf, you can actually just select an element and send it. You just click it and it sends it to Windsurf. So kind of a cool little tool. Same concept of giving Windsurf eyeballs to see what's going on. And this would be like sending the logs. It's going to pull the console logs and it's going to drop them in here. There aren't any that need to be sent to the peers. Okay. So we have a new tab up here, invoices. Let's see if we built what we wanted. Create your first invoice. Yeah, we'll send Monty an invoice. I wonder if it automatically assigns a number or not. Let's see. And here's a draft. I do not see an actual item I can add here. Am I missing that? Or is it? Okay, so I have to put in an invoice number. We'll just do 0001. And we have an integrity error. Okay. So we will screenshot this and see it put it right there for us. And then we will send the logs. Wonder if there are any logs. It does not appear that there are any logs, so it's not going to send those. But I bet there are issues here. Yeah, look at these. Just copy some of this. Put that in. I tried to save invoice and gave these errors. Diagnose. Now we'll see if it works. This is a cool new feature in Windsurf. I don't want to actually add this context window, right? We just build a whole app in this, or a whole feature in this context window. So I want to debug separately, but I just threw everything into this chat here. If you go and start a new conversation, you just click that little plus, keeps all of that stuff that you just put into the chat, and you can send it in a new conversation, that little plus button. So you can do your debugging right there in the screen and then dump it into a new conversation for an open context window. All right. I will complete building this out, maybe on another call, or maybe I'll just leave it here and leave the debugging for another session. I know MCPs probably didn't look super entertaining. It's not flashy like putting in a PRD and suddenly getting a crazy, amazing app in one go. They're super cool for doing strategic edits. I hope that this gives you a little idea of how to use them and maybe removes some hesitancy about trying it yourself. They're not going to go mess anything up. You can just try it, put it in, use them, turn them off if you don't like them, things like that. All right. See you next week. And good seeing y'all. Cheers. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, please like and follow. And if you need help building or finishing your app, click the link in my bio to book a one-on-one Zoom call to take a look at your project.